In this video, we're going to be talking about the newest chapter in the Stitchwraith story. Now, this is one that is actually coming to an end very soon. Obviously, the Fazbear Frights series in general is ending very soon, so it seems like we're approaching an ending. We're just not quite there yet, but there's some really interesting things I want to talk about here, and we actually seem to be about to go back to a previous story, one that we've seen already in this universe, and one that might be having a sequel, a comeback, maybe it's just one reference, but it doesn't quite seem like it, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. But first...
So I was going to put the normal subscriber song here like I always do, but I have something else I'd like to say. I hosted an ARG the other day for 6,000 subscribers, thank you again by the way, and we actually had a pretty good turnout. We had a couple people win already, and it's still up if you want to play it, by the way. It'll be just on my channel, or I might put it in the description too, we'll see. I believe the first winner was I Drew, and I just wanted to kind of congratulate him on actually completing this puzzle. It was tricky, and I kind of wish I'd made it easier, but there were some parts that definitely were a bit of a struggle. But hey, like, we had a bunch of people make it, and I Drew was the first one to get there, which is, that's a pretty good achievement. So, I just wanted to congratulate him once again, and if you want to check out that puzzle for yourself, you can do so. Okay, back to the video.
This Stitchwraith story starts with Detective Larson waking up in the hospital after the big battle that took place in the last Stitchwraith story. So after this big battle, he was infected with something that came from Afton or from some other evil creature that was in Afton's amalgamation. Jake managed to heal him by apparently burning it away, but he seems to be overall pretty much fine, and nothing's infecting him anymore, although the doctors are very confused about why he has a hand-shaped burn mark on his stomach, but he doesn't tell them because obviously they'd think he's crazy. So over the next few days, he's taken off work because the police chief just doesn't want him to be working if he's been hurt so bad. And so Larson spends a few days just hanging out with his kid and actually spending time with him, but the whole time he can't really stop thinking about what happened. And to make matters worse, he's been having weird vision issues. He had a CAT scan and apparently nothing's wrong with him, but he's been having weird vision issues ever since the surgery. Sometimes he'll actually be in Freddy's, sometimes he'll be in a movie theater with friends who apparently aren't his but are someone else's. Don't know who yet, maybe Oswald's, and you'll see why I think that in a second, because the main thing he sees is a ball pit. A old, kind of dirty ball pit. Sometimes he's in it, sometimes he's looking at it, but it's always a ball pit. And he decides he needs to find this ball pit. I think it's pretty obvious this is the same one from Into the Pit. Why it's showing up again, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to be a passing reference, and as this story continues, you'll see it just... they keep going back to it. There's something important about this ball pit, the first story in the series, that for some reason we're going back to it after all this time. Meanwhile, Jake is actually in a dark alley, and he finds a man behind a dumpster. Apparently, Jake's just been hiding for 9 full days since the battle, and now he comes across this man who at first I thought might be Grim, but it never really names him. I think it probably is, but we're not quite sure. And Jake, again, seems to be able to sense people's memories and sense what they're feeling. And this is weird because obviously Grim has a troubled past. Apparently there was some sort of car accident where only he survived, and that sent him into just insanity. And now he's miserable all the time, but somehow Jake manages to actually... well, I'll read it. It says, Jake concentrated, and he sent his thoughts back through the soup of memories he'd just seen. Maybe he could pull one out, a good one, and make it bigger and brighter than the rest. If he could ease the man's pain. And he does. Somehow he manages to pull out the happy memories this man had, and I guess make the man a bit happier. It's very strange, but apparently Jake can somehow manipulate people's memories. And then, as he walks away from this man, apparently having made him happier, he hears sounds coming from a building nearby, so he goes inside. Inside, he finds a girl who seems to be unconscious, and apparently the first thing he thinks of when he sees her is one of those Just Say No to Drugs commercials. Apparently she looks like someone out of that, and so he tries to help her. He decides she needs water because she looks like she's sick. She looks like she's unhealthy. And so he decides he needs to get her some water, but before he can, 2 men walk into the room. Jake is pretty sure they're drug dealers. Whether he's right, I have no idea, but that's what he thinks. And apparently she does owe them money, and so Jake tries to get them to stay away from her because they're trying to hurt her. Jake picks up one of the men, and he basically picks him up over his head, and then he throws him out a window. The other guy gets thrown into a stack of boxes, and then Jake starts writing something on his forehead. We don't get to see what it is yet, but we will. And Jake decides he needs to help this girl, and so he leaves. Meanwhile, Larson has found the ball pit. An old man has left him in, and this whole building, which is obviously Jeff's Pizza, has been abandoned. But Larson manages to get in, and he kind of wants to go into the ball pit for some reason, but he decides not to after he feels what seems to be blood inside, and he decides he needs to leave, and he just does. He doesn't even think more about it. So he's going to be coming back here, but for now it seems like he is deciding he needs to come up with another plan. It seems like he's going to be trying to figure out where this ball pit came from and what happened in this building, which obviously we have some idea. Meanwhile, again, we're back in a hospital. Whether it's the same one, I don't know, but these two guys who Jake hurt have been in the hospital, and basically we just see the nurses taking care of them and trying to help them, and on the one man's forehead is written, "Just say no," so I guess that's a fun gag. Meanwhile, again, Jake is now with the girl hiding in an abandoned shed of sorts, and he's basically hiding away, trying to protect her, trying to help her in some way, though he really doesn't have much of an idea how. It's the middle of the night, and as he's trying to help her, he hears something outside, something scurrying around, something banging against the walls of this shed, and he's not exactly as tough as he was when he was dealing with the supposed drug dealers before. Now he's just as scared as she is, and just like us, he has no idea what's outside and what's trying to get in. And that's the end of this Stitchwraith story. That's it. I honestly have no idea what could be trying to get inside. It kind of reminds me of the Breaking Wheel, where Julius and the exoskeleton are like trying to break into the house. It kind of reminds me of that, but that's probably just a coincidence. And I also have no idea why the ball pit is back. I'm sure there's a reason, I just don't know why. Something is important about that thing, and I've always kind of thought that. I've always found the tear under Spring Bonnie's eye very interesting. I've always found the fact that this ball pit can somehow time travel very interesting. The whole place, I always felt like we didn't quite get enough answers there. But now, maybe we will. Obviously this is leading up to something, so I'm not expecting answers right now, but I'm really excited to see where this goes in The Puppet Carver, which is coming out in a little over a month, so, I mean, I guess we'll get to find out. Until then, I'll see you guys then, and okay, bye.